What's going on, everybody? This is Dan French, and this is my startup. We'll say it's a test run podcast. We're going to talk a lot about Bitcoin. I'm with Chuckett's team, and we do a lot of business. I'm also here in studio with Brett Jenny, who's on Chuckett's team, and we're here going to talk about a little bit about Bitcoin and what's been going on with that. And as you guys know, this is the first live stream that we're doing. And what's happening is we are going to talk a lot about financing on this show. We're going to talk a lot about what's going on in Las Vegas, also what's happening, let's say in the real estate world, but not so much on real estate. We're going to really try to lean more towards the financing part of this. And so with further ado, Brett, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Not too much, man. Just wheeling through my deals. You know how it goes.
Wheeling through your deals?
Trying to make some money on stocks and crypto on the side. So
yeah, well,
which is kind of what we're here to talk about today.
So let me say this, Brett. Kind of talk to me about what's happening with cryptocurrency right now and why there's a big boom going on.
Well, the easy answer is because of supply and demand.
Well,
I mean, really, that's what people all the time ask me. They say, well, how do you know what the price, how do you determine what the price of Bitcoin is? How do you determine what the price of Litecoin or other cryptocurrency is?
Yeah.
It's real simple. It's supply and demand. So right now there's a huge demand for it. And the supply of it is limited. Mm-hmm. So there's only a certain amount of Bitcoin that will ever be made. And I would say probably 75% of it has already been mined right now, which means it's already been produced.
So what other forms of, let's ask this question. What other forms of Bitcoin do you have out there right now where you can
So there's only one Bitcoin, but you mean cryptocurrencies.
Oh, I'm sorry, cryptocurrencies, my fault. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cryptocurrencies.
So here's a good way of looking at it. Bitcoin is like gold.
Okay.
And there's other cryptocurrencies out there which you could look at as a sense of
Give me some names.
The euro versus an American dollar versus other currencies. So in this sense, like Litecoin, Link, Ripple, things of that effect. Now, here's where the value comes into play. First of all, it's the Wild West in a sense with these smaller currencies.
Right.
And currencies is just a vague way of what you're doing is basically it's an idea, right?
Okay.
So a person or a company is putting together a blockchain that they think will serve a utility purpose for something down the road. Mm-hmm. And it's like anything, right? Why did Google survive? Why did Microsoft survive? Blah, blah, blah. Because they all provided a certain service or solved a certain problem, right?
So this was like secret though, right? Like this was something that somebody created and then for a while.
Well, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, all this is an offshoot of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is blockchain, right?
Yes, right.
But it's basically a computer protocol so that nothing can ever manipulate it.
Okay.
And the idea of an alternative currency has been out there for ages. And a lot of what made Bitcoin turn the corner was an acceptance. Mm-hmm. Is you've got new generation, you've got new minds, and they think differently.
Yeah.
So, I was talking to Chuckus yesterday actually, and he's like, so what makes it valuable? And I said, you can simplify it down to because people give it value for no more, no less. Right. So it's kind of like this. Why in the past, if you were to take our $20 bill right now, before America was a country, and you were to present it in the 1600s in the France or 1500s in the France or something, and you'd say, hey, this is worth $20. Collectively as a whole, everybody would say, what is this?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be worth $20.
Right. Right.
But in this society, in this time that we're alive, everybody collectively says, the belief system is that this piece of paper is worth $20 and this piece of paper over here is like a napkin or just a notepad or whatever it is. Yeah, but so if that mentality has changed. The whole mentality of I'm willing to accept a currency that has, it has value because people believe it has value. I guess, right?
That's most things, though, right, though?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but that's what I'm saying is that mentality has already shifted. So you can either know where it's going or be in denial, and and I don't really understand it. Did anybody in 1991 understand how the internet? Dude, I still don't understand how the internet really works. Well, I just know that I can run a business from home doing it, and it's not hard to think about how to go about doing it.
So if you're out there though, but let me say this: is it a way to invest your money? Like I think a lot of people are looking for where's the safe haven to plant my money, and it's
a very good way to invest your money, right? So you either believe that it's the future or you don't. If you believe it's the future, it's the easiest and soundest way to make money. The last bull run that happened at the end of 2017, when Bitcoin got up to $20,000, there were people who bought Bitcoin at $5, dude. They were like a delivery pizza driver. And within 2 years, they're retired millionaires.
Yeah, but I mean,
and all they did was hold.
That's something though that when you look at, do you have a crystal ball for that? Right? Nobody does, and
nobody does. And so that's what I'm saying is we're even further along that line of acceptance and turning the corner now than we were when I first started getting into it 3 years ago.
Okay,
we're even the demand, and that's why you're seeing right now. So last night it broke 24,000.
Okay.
The highest high,
24,000.
The highest high dude.
It just broke 20,000
on Thanksgiving Day. I was texting Chuckus, and I said it's on a dip right now. You're good. Now's when you're going to want to buy. And he said I'm going to hold out to 10,000. And I was like, dude, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
And it went from 16,500 to what? 3 weeks later, 24,000. And it's just getting started. The highest high it ever had was in December of 2017 was 20,000. So it broke 20,000. It's at 24,000 now, and it's just getting started. Why? Because you're having institution money, right? So before you had retail money at the end of 2017, you had retail traders that were coming in and and all that stuff. And there's still a lot of manipulation. There's still a lot of regulation. Yeah. There's still a lot of things people are trying to figure out, man. But anybody who's pro crypto is all for that to happen.
So I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of these people that I speak with always say, I'm going to just dabble a little bit of money into it just to see what happens. So
they should.
You don't have to go buy a whole coin.
So right? Exactly. So that's why crypto, part of what's taken off so much right now is you're having financial advisors on CNBC every day when I watch, or hedge fund investors or portfolio managers that are saying we're taking 10% and we're sticking it into Bitcoin as a hedge against real gold and against American dollar. So one Bitcoin is worth right now 23,900 or 24,000.
One Bitcoin, right?
One Bitcoin.
And how long ago was it?
But you can buy them in Satoshis.
Yeah, but let me ask you, how long ago was it that it was at one Bitcoin was like $4,000?
March.
See, think about that. So
that's what I'm saying. So you want to know, is it a good investment? I don't know, dude. If you bought it in March, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, it was $4,000. Now it's 24.
Here's my thing though. You have it in March, right? And then you're all the way in December.
Well,
it's only been 9 months. Okay. What if you didn't know what to do with that? You know what I mean? Like, what do you
mean?
Like, what if you didn't know to invest in that? What if you're like somebody out there that says, I got 4,000. Should I put it there?
Why do you think it's rising even quicker now? Because everybody now is saying, everybody who's joining now wasn't aware of it then. Or like you and Chuckus, where you knew about it, but you didn't have the nuts to do it.
Well, I'm going to tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. So I went when it was only $2,000.
Jesus.
Dude, I'm going to tell you something. I had a full coin that I was going to press the button. You know what stopped me?
Oh, man.
Let me tell you what stopped me. So I started thinking, I'm somebody that does look at the gold and silver market, tangible things, properties. But if you look at it, I can't necessarily think that, what happens if... Because you can't take Bitcoin out of your computer.
Well, here's the thing. That's why you're seeing early adapters. Like, okay, listen, I'm a lot more of a risk taker than you.
I would say so, because you dabble in the stock market.
I'll drop $2,000 on something I wasn't thinking twice about it and being like, what did I just buy?
Yeah, and me, I'll think
like,
about it.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm like, okay, worst case scenario, I'm out $2,000. I'll make more money.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to sound arrogant, whatever it is, but I'm just saying that's like, I don't like $2,000 to me to invest in something's like, I don't.
Well, it's not even just the $2,000. I mean,
what do I have to lose?
Everybody's got $2,000. It's like this though. Where do you want to put it where it's going to make your most return? That's what people think.
Yeah. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a huge part of me, a business side to me, that's always thinking that way. But I'm just saying overall, like I don't let, and it's all relative because I'm making decent money now. I mean, when I made less money, obviously it was a bigger deal. So let's say it was 200 then or whatever it is, like, to relative to what you have or what you're making. But, to me, it's like, I mean, so that's how I got into cryptocurrency was in December of 2017, Litecoin. And when I bought Litecoin, it was the idea of, I don't really know what cryptocurrency is.
Yeah.
Okay. When I went to buy it, Coinbase was the main place where you bought it. Now they have like 15 or 20 of them on there.
Yeah.
When I went there were 3, dude. There was Bitcoin, there was Ethereum, and there was Litecoin. That's it. The only reason that I bought.
Push your mic back because people can't really see you. So pull it this way.
Oh, this way?
Yeah. So push it down a little bit.
Down?
Yeah, like
All
that.
right, like this?
Yeah.
I'm not even looking at myself in the camera. There I am. How you doing, B? So, just kidding.
But thinking about it like this, so I'm just trying to go back because, when you go back a couple of years, it was kind of just getting started. Now you see you can buy Bitcoin.
I've seen things come. I can't even tell you the progress I've seen in 3 years.
Yeah, you could buy Bitcoin in these chevrons out here. So you can literally walk into a gas station.
Here's better.
Yeah, you can literally walk into a gas station and go through that process of buying it right there, and it's accessible. And what are your thoughts? I mean, you think this is going to change?
It's all towards adoption, which is good. All towards adoption. And that's adoption is acceptance and a belief system happening.
Yeah.
So I mean, kind of go back to when I first bought Litecoin, and this is the theory on things, which is I saw 3 coins, right? Bitcoin was like, at the time was like 18,000, Ethereum was like 600 something, I think, or 500 something.
Yeah.
And Litecoin was $109. And I said, I'm going to take $1,500. I don't know what cryptos, other than I've been hearing about this Bitcoin thing on the news every day and going up. I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know what the hell it does. I don't know. I'm just going to, and that's how I got into it. And that's when I kind of go back to me. I'll just take money. And it's like, I hear about something. I know it's some sort of investment. I'll figure it out later. And I just stuck $1,500 in it. And I bought Litecoin because I could buy more of it.
Well, let me say, so at some point, do you want to sell that? Or you wouldn't want to sell that?
You should. I mean, listen, so here was my experience. I bought Litecoin. It was like December 7th, December 8th, something like that, 2017. It was a Friday morning at like 7 a.m., right? Wake up early. I'm doing my stocks. And I just started getting into stock trading about 6 months before that.
Okay.
Right? And first I started off stock trading by doing like penny stocks.
Yeah.
And then you lose money really quickly doing that. Like you can have the rise and fall of a civilization in 10 minutes. Oh, 100%. I mean, penny stocks, right? So that's why, like, when I first got into crypto and everyone's like, it's manipulated. I'm like, this ain't, dude, I'm used to penny stocks that can run you.
Penny stocks are like really just a big.
It's It's half of
like,
them are shell companies, dude.
It's like gambling, right?
Yeah. All it is. And there's always these influencers who are paid to basically go and like shill out a certain stock of this penny stock that it's going to run. It's got this coming, whatever it is. And it's just to prop it up to sell it. It's a whole like manipulative. They're on the OTC, which is over the counter.
Yeah.
So they have a lot different lower standards than like the S&P 500 or Dow Jones or something like that. Like completely different standards.
So if you're
long and short of it is, I'm listening about it every day. And that's kind of how I heard about Litecoin was they're talking about the cryptocurrency on there going up. And that's.
Yeah, but will they make more? So like there's a lot of how many cryptocurrencies would you say that's out there right now? How many different?
Man.
There's a few, right?
No, so here's the thing. there's a ton, but the main point of it is to get it listed on an exchange.
Okay.
Like Binance is an exchange, right?
Because then people start to invest into that,
Yeah.
in the money
So,
into it, right?
so, okay, look at it this way. When you buy a stock and you're trading stocks on the stock market, you're trading an actual company that has filings and this and that and pays taxes. And, you know, it's questionable in some of these electric car companies and stuff like that. But for the most part, they're companies that make money, that have revenue. They produce a product.
Yeah.
Coins getting listed on exchange. Like when I'm trading coins on Binance.
Yeah.
You're trading ideas.
Okay.
Because all they are blockchains, programs that are being worked on, not completed, not they actually do anything yet. Some of them do, but like Ripple is a cryptocurrency that's supposed to be used for banking.
Okay.
So banks could use it a lot. So instead of like the dollar going back and forth, it'd be used to facilitate and tracking of money. So, or like Link. Link is a coin where the use case on it is it takes all of the documents that exist in this world. This is just one example of what you can do with it, right? Say there's all these documents, and like you as a lender, you have all these lender documents, all these loan documents, all these papers, whatever it is, blah, blah, and it's all stored digital. First, it was in warehouses and boxes, and then we had the digital age, and then it went all digital.
Yes.
Now it's on your computer, right?
Yeah.
What this does is it takes all of that information and it puts it in a blockchain.
I see.
So remember back in the day when CDs first came out and you could even pay people to take your tapes and dub them onto CDs?
Yeah.
Because you had to transfer them onto the new mode of technology. That's what Link does. It allows that to do. So you see how it has a use case. So it actually does something. Now, there's a lot that are just ideas where they think, hey, we're going to try to solve this problem, but they're far from it. They're not making money doing it. They still have a lot of kinks work that they have to do on it. And it's nothing really more than just a couple people or people working on a certain idea. Now, how some get listed on an exchange, I don't know.
Well,
because I mean, there's hundreds and not thousands of them, but there's only a certain number. Like Binance only has like 50 or 60 or 70, something like that.
yeah.
You know, but dude, do you know how many blockchain programs are being worked on right now?
Well,
Thousands. It's like the .com, right? Do you know how many .com companies were originally there in 1998, 1999?
well,
And then boom, that settled thatself out, right?
yeah, I think what it is that people want to know where to invest their money, and I think there's a lot of people that don't really know what cryptocurrency is. I think
So I would stick to the main ones.
Well,
so
stick
make
to
it
the
long
main
as the
ones.
main ones.
Right.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. And I'll tell you why those three. Bitcoin, because it's basically digital gold, right? So that's your store of value.
Okay.
Bitcoin, you don't want to actually go out and use because its use case is lacking. What I mean by someone wants to buy a house, say they want to pay $600,000 for a house,
Yep.
and they're going to pay for it with Bitcoin. It would take like 22 hours for all of that Bitcoin to be transferred over for $600,000. If you use Litecoin, it would take 2 minutes.
Got it.
So Bitcoin, you want to keep for the storage of it, just like gold. You don't go to the grocery store and bring out your bars of gold and say, I'm going to pay for this candy bar or this soda or whatever
But
it is.
this is like diversifying, right? Is it? Is
Correct.
It not? Right.
Yeah,
So you don't want to put all your money into that. I'm just saying this is a good option.
If you believe that Bitcoin is a true store of value and you believe it's the future store of value, like I'm not going to convince you whether it is or not. Like if you're not, that's a whole nother conversation. Then we're on a different conversation. But if you do, then Bitcoin's for the storage. That's the value in it. Litecoin is how you're able to spend that Bitcoin and make payments. It's going to be the payment system, I believe. Like right now, you can go to Dunkin' Donuts and pay with Litecoin.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? So what is that? Off your phone?
Off your phone.
Off your phone.
Just like a scanner thing, like a scanner code.
just like an
that.
Apple Pay or something.
Yeah,
like
just
that.
like that, dude.
Is that going to be the new way then? Huh?
Yes, that's what I'm telling you about. That's going to be. That's why you're seeing right now the demand is so high because you have institutions like Twitter. They're buying $50, $75 million Bitcoin at a time. PayPal buying $150 million worth of Bitcoin. Why do you think they're buying that form?
Yeah,
why do you think they're buying Bitcoin? Because they understand that's how the future payment system of the whole internet in the world is going to be.
Yeah. So if you were somebody out there, I think the problem with a lot of people is, especially what's going on with COVID, maybe people lost their job, right? Maybe people aren't really have that extra nest egg or the savings. Maybe they're dipping into it. But I think the problem is this is getting expensive.
So about 3 months ago, I said, you know what? Why don't you take $50 here, $200 there, whatever it is, every paycheck, and buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Those are the only 3 you should buy.
Okay.
And she did that 2 months ago, and she's stuck in $1,800. And today she just looked at it, it's over $3,000.
Well,
so you're adding 100 here, you're adding 200 there, blah, 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 blah. But if you ultimately believe, like Bitcoin at 24,000, believers like me, I think it's going well past $1 million someday. Will it get there overnight? No, but it'll be 50 grand first, then 100 grand, because you're talking about something that is going to be, the world's going to run on for a current. I believe the world's going to run on it. It's going to be the world's currency.
How many years though? I mean, this can't be
within probably 20, 30 years, but either way, Chuck has tried bringing that to me. Either way, even if it's 80 years from now, every year we're getting closer to that than we are away from that. You see what I'm saying? So to me, it's like we're going to be at a certain point where the most valued asset financially in the world is going to be a Bitcoin. And there's only going to be a certain number of made. That means that even every millionaire in the world will not even be able to own one full Bitcoin.
And where do you don't see it stopping? The only thing that this is, so look, the big problem,
it's not going to happen overnight.
Here's the big problem. So they're going to be dissecting and really taking pieces of all this Bitcoin, and you can buy it at a very small margin, right? Like how much, what is the lowest amount you can buy Bitcoin at right now, would you say? Just getting in. Cause I know
1 penny.
Okay. So what is something
5 cents? $1.
What is something that you would tell somebody though, that would be a good starting point? Like $200,
whatever you can afford, whatever you're comfortable with losing. I always take that attitude with it, but I apply that attitude with day trading my stocks.
Yeah.
Like, do I take like the most of my amount of money? And no, that's in Apple, that's in Facebook, that's in Netflix and something solid. But then I've got my money on the side where it's like that I play around with a little bit. I would say, if you're comfortable with it, take 10% of what you have invested anywhere, financially, whatever it is, and stick it into that. So if you have 50,000 saved, I would take 5,000.
Yeah.
If you had, if you have more, you have less, whatever it is, even $50, even $200. I told you yesterday about that guy from CNBC who met the CEO of Coinbase, where you can buy cryptocurrency 5 years ago. And that guy said, I'm going to show you something. He set him up with a Coinbase account and sent him $1 worth of Bitcoin 5 years ago. He showed his screen yesterday is worth $80 now. That $1 went to $80 in 5 years, dude. 80 times.
See, but nobody knows that that's going to happen. See, that's the problem.
Of course. So I don't have to tell you the world could end tomorrow, dude. So that's what I'm saying. You either believe or you don't believe. So I'm not here to convince anybody.
The average person out there, though, I'm not saying you're convincing, but the average person out there wants to know, well, will this have a return on investment? We don't know that.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you believe that Twitter knows what they're doing and they're successful? Do you believe that Facebook knows what they're doing and successful? Do you believe that Apple is a successful company?
I do now, right?
Right.
Because you has to have time.
Right. So, to build that trust. So not only do we all believe as a whole that all those companies I just mentioned are valuable, but we all know they started with nothing.
They did. And I think
so. To go from nothing to what they have now, you would have to, I would say it's fair to say they're very intelligent and they know what they're doing. Correct? Of course. They were seeing things that other people weren't seeing. That's kind of how they got to the position, correct?
I would say so.
So all of them are buying hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin right now. Why do you think that is? Do you have to be a genius to understand why that is?
Well, let me say, first off, let me say this though. We're looking at it from a big corporation standpoint to the average consumer.
Sure.
So if you look at the average consumer, I'm just saying cryptocurrency is something that you have to have trust in.
Correct.
Like anything.
Correct.
And I think when you talk about those big corporations, they don't always have trust as far as people start to develop the trust over time.
They absolutely have the trust. They're not going to stick $150 million into something they don't believe in.
But let's say if they lose that money, they're probably not going to see.
They're not going to lose. Listen, they're not
just hypothetical.
Companies like that. This is what I'm saying. Well, the world could end tomorrow.
But I'm saying,
but what I'm telling you is companies like that don't invest 150. Like, we're not talking about one company. We're talking about multiple companies.
But they have the money to lose. You know, like an average
Correct.
consumer
But
doesn't.
Listen, I don't care if you have the money to lose or nothing. You go to the board members of Apple and you explain to them how you lost $150 million. Dude, heads are rolling.
Yeah. So going back though, if you're the average person out there, because I'm trying to get it from a street level, consumer level position, would you say that, hey, I'm going to invest this money, and you would be confident in investing it, but you wouldn't obviously put a lot of your, like, how much would you put into, if you had a portfolio, you had money to actually invest?
I have a portfolio right now, and I would say probably 75% of what I have are in stocks.
Wow.
The other 20,
why is that?
The other 25% is in crypto.
Why is it in stocks? Is it because of the quick return? Is that what you're looking for? I mean, are you looking?
Well, no. Now you're talking about day trading.
Yeah.
I'm talking about stocks.
Okay.
I didn't say I was day trading at all.
Okay.
So I'm talking about my investments.
Okay.
Like, some people own real estate, and they own a couple businesses, and they own stocks, and they own crypto. I'm telling you what I have my money stuck in for investment.
Yeah.
Are stocks and crypto.
Okay.
So I have some money that I have in my stock portfolio that I day trade and I mess around with and swing trade.
Okay.
But a majority of that is just in major stocks. I don't day trade that. So, and then I've got another 25% of what I have total that I would say probably about 25% that's in crypto.
So
that's just me though, dude.
Okay.
You know?
No. And then listen, you might have a different threshold. So I think it comes down to, the problem with a lot of people is the money. Where do they invest it? Some don't have a lot of money. Some do. Some have some.
It's real easy. Stick it in Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin. I honestly, I would stick it in Litecoin, because here's the way you got to look at it. During the last bull run, Bitcoin went to a high of $20,000. When Bitcoin went to a high of $20,000, when it went to its height, Litecoin went to a high of $350. Bitcoin not only went to the highest high, but it skyrocketed past the highest it's ever been. Litecoin is still only $110. Litecoin has yet to have the run that it did last time to match Bitcoin. And I'm telling, there's a lot of people now that think Litecoin's going to go to 1,000.
What do you think?
I think it's I think we're in uncharted territory right now. And there's no graph or chart that you can really use right now. I think it's all unknown territory, dude.
Here's what scares me, though. I'm going to tell you what scares me a little bit is we have a situation where we went from 16,000 on Thanksgiving to 20,000, this last week?
The 24,000 now.
Yeah, and then
it went up like $4,000 one day.
Well, but where is this frenzy coming from? Why is this happening? I'm not
People like you who have been talking about Bitcoin for years, and you're calling me up like Chuck is saying, "Hey man, can you help me buy some Bitcoin?" So that's where it's coming from.
So now the average person out there that's looking to invest,
it's fueled, the belly of it's fueled by institutions like PayPal and Twitter and things like that are buying 100, 150 million, $50 million a pop. That's what's getting it going, and that keeps the demand going.
Yeah.
And then then the more it gets talked about, the more whatever it is. So I just think that it turned the corner, like that major corner it needed to turn 3 years ago. It's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So does it need to come down some? And do I think we're in for a correction? Yeah, dude. I think there's going to be, in the next couple of weeks, I think there's going to be a lot of people, dude.
So you're saying
who got into it like I did in 2017 when it was going up 10%, 15% every day. And you're like, I'm a damn genius. All I did was buy this. Like, let me tell you a story of Litecoin. I bought that on a Friday morning at 7 a.m. for $119.
Uh-huh.
By 3 days later, by that Monday, it was $320.
Wow.
I was like, I'm a genius. I love crypto, man. Why is anybody doing anything other than crypto?
Yeah.
And then for the next 3 years, you saw it go from $330 down to $25 for Litecoin. And you see people lose their asses, man. You know, there's people that I know that bought it at 275 that are still holding. So it's still got to go up double what it's at right now for them to even break even. Yeah. Dude, there's people I know that stuck in millions, dude, $3, $4, $5 million when it was $300, and they've held on to it since it was down to 25. They're not selling. These are hardcore, like, you know, hardcore people, dude.
Yeah.
You know, but let me tell you something. One guy I know that did that, it was like $4 million. This guy had a bunch of different businesses. Dude, he sold his Audi R8. He sold his Porsche. His wife divorced him, said that you're irresponsible and do all these things. And dude, now he stands to be a millionaire multiple times over.
Let me say this. When did this get started?
And he risked it all. For 3 years, everybody told him he was wrong. And now he's like middle finger to them all.
When did this, like, give me the history when all of this crypto stuff started getting started, where there was a guy out there that
Satoshi Nakasomi, I think is his name.
Is that the guy's name?
So it's an anonymous person. So that's the thing. Like, still to this day, nobody knows who it was. Some people think it was a group of people. Some people think it was just one person. People don't know if he's dead, if he's still alive. Mm-hmm. It's the urban myth, right? So basically, one day out of nowhere in January, I think it was of 2008, this white paper appeared on some internet cryptography website called Bitcoin. Just one day, boom, appeared.
And that's how
and that's how it
started putting trust into this.
Just one day, and
that's crazy.
But he was the first. They were the first to formulate a real idea of how this could happen, of how you could take away manipulation and you could take away anybody owning it. And it's run by peer-to-peer. They were the first person to kind of pull off that idea. Then it took the right combination of the acceptance and time in our history with the internet and everything, a culmination of it all, right place, right. It's like anything, dude. I mean, this idea is not the first for someone to come up with an idea of an alternative currency. It's just right place, right time, right idea, right whatever it is. And still to this day, the very first Bitcoin that were ever mined have never been touched. They've never been moved. They've never been transferred. They've never been spent. And whoever mined the first ones is the original owner. And dude, it's probably worth hundreds and hundreds
nobody can hack this stuff.
Dude, it's worth, whoever mined the first ones, whoever the original inventor was, it's worth hundreds of millions of dollars and they've never touched it.
So, but nobody can hack in and get that.
Nobody can hack in.
Where's this? So, why does that happen to where nobody can just?
But that's to kind of reiterate a little bit. That's why no government, that's why it can't be manipulated. No government can manipulate it. No one person, no group, nobody, no money, none money. It's not owned by anybody. It's like Facebook wants to come out of the cryptocurrency. They're having Mark Zuckerberg up there for Libra saying, you know, well, we're going to shut down your cryptocurrency. How are you going to shut down Bitcoin?
Yeah.
You shut down the internet. It's the only way. And even then, as long as you have a cloud service, you're good.
It'll never.
You can't censor it. You can't manipulate it. No one can own it. You can't do anything to it. That's the brilliance.
You don't see from what you see, because obviously you do a lot of stocks but you don't see this ever slowing down at any point.
Of course it will.
You think it will?
Of course it will. I mean, listen, it went to $20,000 in December of 2017. It was
like right below 20, right?
Yeah, right below 20.
Was the first year it broke 20.
It was like 19,800 something, 7 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Point being is this. It's from December 2017 from 19,000 something. It spent the next 3 years. 3 years. And not all of a sudden, I mean slowly grinding and slowly breaking people and slowly draining their bank accounts.
Yeah.
For the next 3 years, it grinded down and down and down and down until March of this past year when it was a little under $4,000.
Do you think this is a way?
But when the bull runs happened, dude, you got to understand that when Bitcoin went to $19,000 in December of 2017, earlier that year, it was like $1,500. I mean, dude, it goes boom,
just goes crazy. But that's the worry for me. Like if I go and invest that money, I told you I was right there.
Sure. So you can look at it two ways. So let me ask you this. Your fear right now is that you've missed out on the good part of the run because it's run up quite a bit, right?
Let me say this. I didn't know at the time to it because look, do we all know?
But what I'm saying is what your whole fear right now of buying it is what? I don't want to buy it and have it go down.
Well, and that's
Isn't
exactly
that what stopped you the first time?
Yes.
And if you would have did it the first time, you'd be up.
So do you, let me say this. So if I'm trying to time it, everybody's always like time the market, time
Don't.
bits, can you time anything?
Dude, I tell you, it's like a stock. If I want a stock to go down, I buy it.
Well, but you got to have the confidence that it's going to come up.
I will. But what I'm saying is that I just noticed I have that kind of luck with things. If I buy it, that's when it goes down. So I just buy a little bit of it just to bring it down. And then I buy, when it gets down to the point I think it's beaten down, then that's when I come in with the majority of the money and buy it.
So you said recently on this that it was Binance that a lot of these coins have to go through a certain process for having investors invest into this, right? So my thing is this considered somewhat like a stock or is it different?
Yes.
It is, right?
Well, it's like a stock where you can trade it and make money, but a stock is like a company, dude. That's actually a legit company that has an LLC or S Corp or whatever it is, and they make money and they have a profit and loss and they make a product and all that stuff. You're trading blockchain ideas. This group has this idea of working on a blockchain that they want to do this. They're working on this blockchain that they want to do that, but no one's using it. They're constantly trying to get people to use the service. They're trying it's the Wild West right now.
Yeah.
So stocks are actual companies worth something.
Would you hedge? Let me say this, right?
That's why you've got to do the majors like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin because they have the most real life use case utility. They actually do something.
Okay, so the government's printing 120 billion. Well, they're not printing, they're buying into treasuries, they're buying into bonds, they're buying into mortgage-backed securities, notes, all these things, and they're paying, and they're starting to slow down. They're saying that they're going to stop doing this year 2022, but every month they're supposed to be slowing down. So what does that do? It puts money into circulation, right? Correct? So let me say this.
Well,
here's where I'm going with this. As they're printing more and more money, is this a way to hedge against inflation?
Yes, that's what a lot of people are doing.
They're just planting it there to hedge against any type of inflation.
Correct. Yeah. So like 30% of all the money that's ever been printed in the history of the United States has been printed in the past year. Like 30%, dude, of all the money in the history of our country in the last year.
Yeah.
Now let's just apply apples and oranges here. How long can that realistically go on?
Yeah.
The only reason we are able to even get away with it is because the world collectively as a whole still loves the idea of America as an idea. Mm-hmm. And because our currency isn't backed by gold anymore, we don't have the strongest currency in the world, but we're still the world standard because of the idea of America.
Yeah.
That goes downhill, bro.
Well, it should. This may change. I mean, things
it
may
will change. And that's what I'm saying is 20, 30 years from now. I mean, look at the internet in 1991. What if you and I were to sit down and I said, listen, there's this thing called the internet.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to run a business and run a financial and all these things that you can do now that you don't even think twice that you automatically know happens. Mm-hmm. Think about if you tried explaining that to someone in 1991.
Oh, it'd be like foreign language.
It'd be like trying to explain Bitcoin right now to somebody.
Exactly.
And then somebody's saying, oh, yeah, but you know how far away we are from that? That was 1991, bro. I was in high school then. Mm-hmm. Here we are. You know?
Well, I think that if you look at...
Sorry, go check.
No, it's all right. I think if you look at where Bitcoin's heading, do you think it's going to head to 50,000 or higher?
Yes.
I mean, and why is that? I mean, just the confidence, the consumer confidence with people right now is all-time high. We should have... It's a bull market or bull run right now with this, right? Is it with all these coins? Like, is it, Light and Link and all these... coins, these cryptocurrencies, is it all going up or is it just
they're all going up. So one's going to help the other. So days that Bitcoin goes up, the other cryptocurrencies usually don't go up.
Yeah.
But then the other cryptocurrencies, a day or 2 or 3 days after Bitcoin goes up, that's when they all have their run. And there's different ones you can study. Like some coins make a better run when Bitcoin goes up. So some coins don't, because everyone's selling that coin to buy Bitcoin. That's why.
Do you have anybody?
And then they made the money in the Bitcoin, then they stick it into a Litecoin. I mean, into a, not Litecoin, but another cryptocurrency. And then so they make another 10%. Like the whole point in the cryptocurrency community is every trade that you make with any cryptocurrency coin, the only reason you're doing it is to buy more Bitcoin. That's the only reason you do any of the trading is at the end of the day to buy more Bitcoin.
What happens when it's gone though? I mean, what is
then you got supply and demand, and that's when it really goes up.
Yeah, but that's the crazy thing with money, dollars. What do? They keep printing, right? Keep printing.
You can't do that with Bitcoin. That's what I'm telling you.
That's what I'm saying. So it's almost like gold. After the gold's gone,
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Gone. So
supply and demand.
So it's probably important to have a good portion, or at least I would say 15, if you have the money, 10 to 15% of your portfolio, invest into cryptocurrency.
Absolutely.
Okay. It does hedge against inflation.
I would say go higher, but that's probably not the wisest financial advice. But I'm more a risk taker.
You're a risk taker.
It's because I'm just so convinced of the future of it. So that's why it's not risky to me at all. It's the safest bet anyone could ever make in my mind.
It's probably the same.
But, I view it differently than a lot of people.
Well, I mean, I think everybody just wants an idea about what to do. Like there's no secret recipe to you're going to become rich by doing this. But what's crazy is give the statistics of this. If you bought at $4,000, $25,000 when it was $4,000 a coin, how much would that be worth? And that was just what, March?
So what did I do that number at? $25,000?
$25,000.
If you bought $25,000 worth of Bitcoin in March at $4,000, it would be worth, I think, $150,000 now. Yeah, I think it'd be worth $150,000.
So just think about that. That's almost like hitting the lottery, though, if you think about it.
That's why I said when the first bull run happened, like you got to understand that the biggest bull run that Bitcoin had before the last one in 2017, when it went to $19,000, was like the highest it went to was like $2,000.
Yeah.
But you got to understand that at one time it went from like $1,800 down to $100. That's the equivalent of 20,000. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's not uncommon for it to retrace all the way down like that and then go back up even higher.
What causes that?
Adaption.
To what?
The more that it gets out there, the more it gets in society, the more people buy. But ultimately, it comes down to more people holding. The more people that believe this is the future, supply and demand. So the more is getting bought and less supply is going to be out there.
So when people start to see these numbers drop, nobody's buying it, right? You're saying they're hoarding it. Yeah,
like let me give you an example. I trade a lot of Bitcoin on Binance, the USA app. Now there's a European app which you can access, which has more coins, but you need a VPN to do it because they won't let American residents do it. You have to use the US one. What was I saying?
You're talking about the Binance. You have a European. There's an app out there.
So, yeah, I forgot what I was saying.
No, basically what you were talking about. Take another drink of that.
Yeah, I know, right?
You need another. What is that? A highball?
Saturday night. It's my 8-ball.
It's your 8-ball.
My homies couldn't be here.
Yeah.
A bag.
Oh my gosh, dude. So no, but it's one of those things where you have to see the value in it, and if it's hoarding supply and demand, then obviously if it drops, I think the big worry is that everybody's waiting. Yeah, everybody's waiting for it to drop.
Yeah. So here's what I was going to say, which is the difference is this: is like when Bitcoin was going from like 6,000 down to 5,000, then down to 4,000, up to 7,000, whatever it is.
Yeah,
you would have the volume on it was what was nothing, right? So now you literally, I'm seeing Bitcoin be at the highest price it's ever been, and the volume on it when it rose up that $4,000, like went tenfold the volume on it. So what happened was people started selling, right? So the volume went from like say 59 million.
Yes.
The volume went down to 10 million, but the price stayed the same at 23,000. What that says is that there's a ton of people who held on to it.
Yeah.
Who held on to it. They bought it at 22,000. They bought it at 23,000. They didn't sell. Because how do you have the volume decrease that much, yet the price stays the same? It means that there's a huge amount of people that aren't selling it. They're just holding it.
So when is that going to happen again if it does?
What?
If people are going to start hoarding it or
They're holding it right now.
So you think it's going to drop then at this point? You think it's going to come down
Dude,
a little
you
bit?
have these institutions like Twitter or PayPal that buy 50 million, 75 million. They bought it. I think Twitter bought it at an average of 10,600.
How much is left of that Bitcoin? How much is left that you can buy right now? What is the total? Like how much is bought up?
There's like 5 million left to be produced.
Produced. What does that mean?
Mined.
Okay.
So I can send you a video on what that happens. So basically all it is a digital ledger.
Okay.
And instead of the bank,
but that's just
or
Bitcoin.
the escrow company sitting there and verifying the ledger of this being spent and that whatever happens, it's all stored in blockchain and it's verified from computers all around the world working together. And the only way that it finally gets verified and says, okay, everything matches up with everything in the blockchain is basically the way it's designed is that it has to be an algorithm that's solved.
Okay.
So when Bitcoin first came out, you could mine a Bitcoin on your laptop right now. And you can mine it. Now they have whole warehouses with servers set up just to mine one Bitcoin because the algorithm is so hard to figure out because every time one gets mined, the algorithm for the next one becomes even harder.
Wow.
And harder and harder. And that's where it takes care of, it's designed to take care of itself. It's like it's its own life organism within itself. And then when its life is up, it's basically its life is up and this is it. And it's all detects it within itself. Dude, I'm telling you.
Well, let me say,
if you understood the protocol of it, it's beyond genius.
It's
somewhat, simple genius is what it is.
You got to really understand it, but it's almost foreign language to a lot of people. There's a lot of people that understand this. Okay?
Yeah, so that's why I say at the end of the day, what makes Bitcoin? I said I could get into a whole technical analogy of, and listen, I don't even explain it that well.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not like a computer person in any means. I just have a passion for it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of it I don't understand. I just understand the big picture of it and the representation of what it means. And furthermore, I believe it's the future. And to me, the most amount of money in life to be made is to be ahead of the curve.
What if, okay, so you have, ultimately though, there's like what, quite a few. And what if somebody has the ability just to create another form of
they try.
Okay, and what
they
stops
try,
that?
and there's even forks off of Bitcoin right now called Bitcoin Cash because Bitcoin, the protocol for it takes so long to make a payment go through or to have it go through one or the other sometimes because the technology of it's kind of slow. Then Bitcoin Cash is a fork of it, which basically is a new updated version of that protocol.
Okay.
But it's never going to replace Bitcoin. Like gold. You can make fake gold. It looks like gold. It acts like gold.
Just like paper
but
gold,
you
right?
test it, that bad boy ain't gold.
Everybody always says, but here's where the problem I come up with a little bit too is when you invest into something that is not tangible, right? And you've had this conversation before. Let's say you go buy paper gold versus regular gold. Okay. You don't feel like there's some threat or some concern with
well,
buying
here's what I always
something?
say. Everyone's like, oh, well, gold's more solid. And I'm like, okay. Now, I'm not saying there might not be some people, but by and large, who do you know has bars of gold stored in their house or stored anywhere?
Be honest with you, I know a few people. I mean,
okay.
But they have safes and they have things. But,
yeah, right.
Right.
Okay, but other than that,
not many.
The millions of people who own gold who say, well, I also own gold. That's why I feel good because I own gold. No,
it's not Fort Knox.
Well, what you own is a piece of paper that says you own gold.
Well, in a form of paper gold, you do.
Yeah. So other than a piece of paper with a belief system that they say you own gold and you believe that you do own gold because they tell you and you believe they're storing your gold.
Well,
do you actually own your gold? No, you own a piece of paper that you believe says that you like.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
So
it all comes down to a trust system.
That's where it comes.
So you don't really own your gold, dude. How's that different than paper or on the internet?
Well, that goes back to me telling you though that people have to have trust.
Exactly.
Right, and they have to have trust in whatever. But let's say that the only thing they're trusting, what convinces somebody that wants a tangible type of form of asset, like gold or something like that, versus, because what you're telling me is it's almost on the same lines of somebody buying paper gold because the trust factor is there and there's no different. But what if you're somebody out there that doesn't trust to not have those things? Like, how could somebody say, you know what? Yes, I see this going up. I do have gold and silver, or I have some type of asset that's tangible.
Okay, so you have gold and silver. What does that mean?
It means that if I go out in the safe, if you're somebody out there that has it, you can go out in the safe and you can say, look, I have X.
So in terms of what? The world comes crashing down, the world economy comes crashing down, and your sure safe bet is that I've got gold and silver? So even if you are one of those few people that have it in your safe, which most people don't, then it's just a piece of paper and a belief system. Mm-hmm. Now the world's coming to an end, the government's coming to an end. Do you think they're going to say, "Oh yeah, since you said we owe we're storing your gold and silver. Since we say we owe it to you, we're going to be honoring that and we're going to give it to you." You're done, right? So then you got the people in the safe. So what? Now you're going to exist in a world where going across border to border and all these things carrying your gold and silver. You're going to be robbed blind. You're going to be shot and killed. You know what I can do with my Bitcoin? I can have it on my wallet, on my cell phone.
Yeah.
And I can go from this border to that border to that border to that border, and I can cash out any border I'm at. Mm-hmm. 75% of the world doesn't have a bank account. 75% of the world lives in poverty. Mm-hmm. They can actually have a savings.
Well,
like you're in Venezuela, and the dollar went down 95% in value in the past 5 years. Mm-hmm. What did you have to lose to buy Bitcoin?
No, I don't think, look, for me, I really don't feel like it's something that it's a bad investment. I'm just trying to say, if you're an average person out there that is looking to say, well, why would I invest in it?
I would say this: don't ever invest in something that you're completely have no idea about. Now, I do that, so I'm going against my own advice, but I don't do it with stupid money, dude. I don't throw tens of thousands of dollars on it.
Yeah.
I throw it on something that, but now that I know what I know about crypto and my belief in it, I view it differently than a lot of people. So to me, it's a lot safer than anything else out there. It's the safest bet in the world to me. Mm-hmm. Now I can understand why other people don't feel that way yet, or if you certainly don't understand it at all. I'm not going to say, hey, take $1,000 of your money and just stick it in this because I think it's for your own good. Just trust me.
Yeah.
No, you should never do that. But I think you should at least do some research on it and learn about it.
Well, let me say this. If I'm out there and I'm trying to convince, let's say it's me. I want to go buy crypto, right? Mm-hmm. I'll probably dabble into it. Just like most people, they don't put a bunch of money into it. They want to see what happens.
Yeah.
And so I think it's definitely something to look at. To maybe invest into, maybe to diversify, like you said, your portfolio. But again, for me, I think it's always going to be, it's almost like a consumer confidence thing. This thing is really about, it's a very volatile situation where it kind of goes up and down quite a bit. But for whatever reason, because of the consumer confidence that's happening right now in this cryptocurrency world that we're living in, it's starting to just really increase. And I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, you got to understand we're kind of in the perfect storm right now, which is, if you look at the cycle of Bitcoin, it's already had its cycle of going down. Mm-hmm. Now it's time for it to go back up. Number two, you have coronavirus that hit, and you have the world economy doing what it's doing.
Yeah.
So now you're having governments, including the United States, that are just printing money like it's nothing.
Yeah.
So now you got frivolous money being printed with really no backing behind it. So you've got that. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then you've got institutions where said, hey, we understand that we feel this is where the internet and how payment systems on the internet are going to be run down the road. So I mean, it's just a combination of a lot of things right now. And honestly, it's at 24,000. The high before that was 20 grand. And it blew right past it. It's at 24,000. I think we're going to go up to 50 or so. That's just my belief. Who knows, dude? We're on uncharted territory. I do think we're going to have a nice dip, though, coming up. And I think a lot of people who have Johnny come lately, who have made some quick money, are about ready to get their asses handed to them. And you're going to be like, they're going to learn that it's like life just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So...
Well, let's talk about.
It just doesn't go like this, dude. It goes dent, 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 dent. You see what I'm saying?
I'm gonna keep my eye on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency world and see what's going on. And I just want to say, we talked about it a little bit, but the other cryptocurrencies out there, do they have a cap on how much you can buy into that?
Yes.
Every single one of them has a cap.
Yes, but they're not. None of them are nearly limited like Bitcoin.
I see.
Listen, Bitcoin has already garnered the King Daddy status.
Okay.
So it's all about that.
Yeah.
Like it's all about validity.
Yeah.
Like why should you trust Bitcoin over this cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
They're kind of all ridiculous. I mean, in a sense, it's a whole different world that even me can't fully comprehend the depth of how it's going to all be tied together.
Isn't it crazy,
I just have a feeling it's going to.
Something just appears and everybody's got confidence into something. And it really, the root of everything that happens in this world is you have enough masses looking at this something and going, you know what? This might be the future.
Yeah.
This might be something
and that's what I'm saying is every bull run, we turn that corner more and more.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. It's already turned the major corner it needed to do. It's already done that, dude. When I go to CNBC every day and I watch CNBC and they have the stock tickers, Bitcoin has its own ticker, dude.
And it didn't. How long ago did it not have that?
6 months ago.
See, isn't that crazy how things it's progressing so fast?
Dude, I'm telling you, yes. And so when you say, oh, well, isn't that a ways down the road? I'm like, dude, 20 years, you'd be surprised what can happen.
This whole thing, dollars might not even be existing.
Dude, that's
anymore,
what I'm saying.
Right?
In my belief, in 25, 30, 35 years, I don't think the American dollar will be around anymore. That's just my personal opinion.
You might be using Bitcoin to wire Bitcoin.
That's my belief. I could be completely wrong. I could be completely crazy, and people viewing this could be like, this guy's whack. And that's cool.
No, I mean, look, everybody doesn't have, you know what it's different is you're thinking outside the box. Everybody doesn't always have like, hey, this is, but you know what? It's good to kind of open the mind of people, right? What could life become? What could things
I think, listen, if anything out of this whole discussion is anybody watching this, go and research it. Check it out. Watch some YouTube videos on it.
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting subject.
It's interesting. And I think that, like I said, I think in the future, you're real estate. I'm in lending. I like real estate. I'm going to practice real estate at some point. What I think it's good though, is I think at some point this could happen. We don't know if it's going to happen. This is all speculation, but the speculation is, could they actually replace something like Bitcoin or like a cryptocurrency? Now you're buying houses with cryptocurrency and you're wiring cryptocurrency.
I believe that's where it's going. I believe the middleman in every industry, that's the point of blockchain, is it cuts out the middleman, dude. So not only that, but it's better for the consumer because prices get cheaper.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I know, like that to me is the vision that I have is all of us are going to be out of a job someday.
Well, I think every industry is threatened.
Yeah.
Every industry, but the human element of things with people and people wanting to work.
But blockchain is begging for real estate and lending and financial. I'm telling you,
it's
dude.
begging for everything.
Yeah.
What industry could blockchain not affect?
But what I'm saying is we're one of the biggest industries left that it really hasn't impacted yet.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap this up, man. So. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been a quick test run. Appreciate the comments. I'm going to get back to you guys on the comments. This is really our first run here. And, we're going to continue to talk about financing and real estate. We're going to talk about many different topics, also kind of get you going on what's going on around Las Vegas. And Brett, you got anything else to say, man?
Oh, man. I'm ready for my weekend.
You ready for your weekend?
It's a freaking weekend, baby. About to have me some fun.
All right, guys. We'll be back next week. We're going to have another show. We're going to talk about other things regarding financing real estate. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys have any comments, comment in the comment section and we'll get back to you, okay?
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.